8 years ago, David and his son Jesse Bitler built this WeCover barn. Here in 2025, we're back with Michael Brusselberg as he's looking at building a similar barn in Iowa.
My name is Michael Brusselberg. I'm with Regenerating Dairy. We're a consulting firm. I work with mostly organic dairy farms, but dairy farms across the country in general. Looking at a project in Iowa right now, specifically for a barn like this, and how the fans specifically could work in that system. And here today, trying to learn and understand a little bit more about these fabric cover barns and how the ventilation works in them, how that works on a day like today, which is 97 degrees, and see what it's like in the barn. It's hot no matter what. Wanted to kind of see what the ventilation would be like with these big fans and find out, you know, how that comfort level is on one of the worst days of the year, along with the light that's coming through to find out, you know, is the barn hotter? Is the bed pack that's here, was there any change in the temperature with the cows laying down, with the ventilation and the heat that comes off of the bed pack?
Listen to the end because the Bitlers have learned several key lessons on how they would do things differently.
There is a reason that people build freestall barns.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, right. That everybody that comes to see the barn, that's usually what I tell them. There is a reason that people build freestall barns.
This is a WeCover building with a fabric roof. Some people think the fabric leaves more heat through because it leaves more light through. And I brought my black globe temperature sensor along so you can tell the difference. The black globe sensor allows you to tell the radiant heat. So I had went in the barn and put the globe at floor level and there was no difference. And then later on I went up and put it up near the roof. It was hotter up near the roof, but there was still no difference between the globe and the ambient air. So that means the WeCover building is not leaving radiant heat. Radiant heat would be like a radiant gas heater where the air is not blowing, but you feel the heat just coming towards you. Well, you really want to avoid that. The second thing I observed when I was there is the sprinklers. They were only spraying for 5 seconds and they were waiting about the right amount of time. So the concept behind sprinklers or feed blind soakers is you spray and you wet to the cow's hide and then it evaporates off them and cools. If you don't make them wet enough and the water just sits on the top of their hair and doesn't do anything. They were only running 5 seconds because after a bit of notice, it sprayed and stopped and the cows were all panting. It had been 97 degrees for 4 consecutive days, so this was heat stress at its max for here in Pennsylvania. So I recommended they change it to at least 40 seconds. I didn't hang around long enough to see how well 40 seconds coated. That's just kind of a rule of thumb that I use at a bunch of places is around 40 seconds. I talked to Jesse a couple days later, right before we made this video, to find out if the recommendation worked.
Did changing the sprinkler settings make any difference for you?
It might have. We recovered from the heat relatively well.
Third thing I noticed, the pusher fans. They have the pusher fans along the feed bunk. They have the large overhead ceiling fans that we made above the bedded pack. But at the feed aisle, they have these pusher fans, and they're not angled down far enough. Based on my fan testing, when you blow air down, whatever obstruction, so you see these cows here in the background, so if you're blowing air across them, don't blow straight across. Tilt down because the air kind of bounces up. And at the first bounce up, it's forever back going uphill again. So if you have cows there, my recommendation was to tilt it down harder because you'll get higher air speeds across the cow if you tilt it down. One thing you have to watch out for is it might blow some of the water from the soaker lines back into the feed bunk, just depending how the air hits it. At the time of this video, they hadn't got any tilted to try to see how that works. The fourth thing is our big ceiling fans in the background. I built those in 2018 for them. It's still the same. We still make the exact same fan. The mounting brackets are a little bit different, but it's still the same concept. With bedded pack, you blow air straight down across it and get pretty high wind speed right across the pack because that dries it out. Another observation was, this would be observation number 5, is their stocking density. They're running around 100 square foot per cow. Jeffrey Bewley from Kentucky recommends 120. He said never get below 100 or the bedding starts getting wet. These cows were on the dirty side. Now, this also was 97 degree, super hot weather. It's gonna be the sloppiest. Cows are gonna be slopping, but these cows were a little dirtier than typical for a bedded pack. The Bitlers do really well, but below 100 square foot per cow, things can get wet pretty quickly. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that here today. I enjoy cows I've milked cows for close to 40 years because at 5 years old, I was helping my dad milk cows, and now I still help him on the weekends. And we built over 30,000 ventilation controllers and big ceiling fans already. It's a lot of fun helping people all across the United States, showing what some farms are doing and how you can improve it is a lot of fun. So take these couple improvements and see if you can apply them to your situation. If you've got any questions on big ceiling fans or ventilation controllers, you can call our shop line 610-987-0488. One of us or my assistant might answer the phone, and it'll eventually end up with me, and I'll try to help you get to the bottom of whatever issue you're dealing with, or find an extension agent or somebody who's been there and done that already so that you can get to the best results with the least amount of effort.